everyone. This is Megan.
And this is Steven.
And this is the Synchrony Podcast, where we talk about transforming apostolic dating culture and ending loneliness in the church. How you doing there, babe?
Crossing my fingers, hoping that our video equipment works the way it's supposed to.
Hopefully, if you're on YouTube, you can see us right now.
Turns out SD cards can actually get old.
We're learning.
Yeah.
We're, just about 3 years into the process of doing this, and we're still hitting learning curves.
Yeah.
All the time.
It's probably fine. I just need to reformat it, but it's okay. I didn't want to take the risk.
Yeah, it's all good. We'll figure it out. We are doing our signature starting to podcast at 11 p.m. on a weeknight thing.
Yeah.
And tomorrow technically is the start of the kids' spring break.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to look so excited.
I'm pumped.
We are, it's going to be interesting. We have nothing planned.
Nope.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
We're not drinking coffee tonight either, so this could be interesting. You've got a probiotic water.
Yes. I'm not sponsored by Aldi.
Wish we were sponsored by Aldi. And I am drinking chai, which I guess is caffeinated slightly, but significantly less caffeinated than coffee.
No, what our bodies are used to.
Yeah, it's not even a mentionable amount of caffeine, but it tastes delightful.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how complex this topic is or how meaty it is, but I kind of just wanted to talk about something that's been on my mind this week.
Okay.
Can I vent for a second?
Go for it.
I am so tired of being on social media.
Yes.
I'm hating it.
Yeah. Why, babe? Why are you hating it? Get into the nitty gritty. I'm sure there will not be differing opinions online.
I mean, I'm not gonna talk about all the feelings I have about things happening in the world or all the things that are popping onto my feed that I wish weren't popping onto my feed because it doesn't help anyone.
At first, I thought you said feet. Popping onto my feet. I'm like,
sounds fungal. No, so for some context, I was a pretty avid social media user for years. And then in 2016, I got off of social media. I basically I got rid of Instagram and Facebook and was basically only on social media that I could, I was on Pinterest, which isn't really social if you use it the way I use it, which is just to look
And
up.
you help run my beekeeping Instagram?
Yeah, I would help post pictures on your beekeeping Instagram, but I never really used my personal one. I think the last picture that I posted on our personal Instagram was Lily's ultrasound or something. It's way far back. And so I was off social media for a long time and really enjoyed that. And it was very healthy for me, I think. And I got back onto Instagram and Facebook when we started Synchrony. So about 3 years ago.
I remember you were dreading it.
I was really torn. But I know that's where people connect with things. And that was probably the easiest and cheapest and best way to sort of build an online awareness of what we were doing. So got back onto social media, and it has highs and lows. I'm not here to argue about the value of social media to society. And
oh, sure.
It's got pros and cons, just like everything else. But I personally, myself, hate being on it. And one of the reasons why I hate being on it is that I think when you start to talk about anything that is really, when it strikes at things that are important to talk about, it also attracts attention from people who are looking for a place to vent their emotions.
Yeah.
So the flavor of that's been happening lately is I've posted stuff about the experience of women mostly, and single women based on the data that we've gathered, the hundreds of apostolic women that we've interviewed and gathered survey data from. And I've gotten this I wouldn't call it a wave, but just a handful of responses across platforms that just kind of smack of the manosphere, shall we say? They're tinged with a flavor of anti-feminism and weaponized scripture for the purposes of putting down women, and regurgitating some of the very tired tropes that we've tried to break of like all men are visual, and of like men are made to be X, Y, and Z thing, and stuff that just doesn't have a lot of scriptural basis. Um, and I'm finding it personally very exhausting right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get on social media. I have not been posting much on Instagram. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to fight about it. I don't want to argue with someone who showed up to one post that I put up because it triggered something in their feelings because they've been immersed in one specific echo chamber for a long time, and they look at nothing else that we've done. They don't look at the data that we've gathered. They don't look at the people that we're talking to. They don't look at any of the work that's gone on behind the scenes to capture the information. They just regurgitate their feelings about the world and themselves into a comment. I don't want to fight with those people or defend against those people or protect. I don't want to protect people from those people, and I feel like I have to if it's on our platform sometimes, you know. Um so right now I'm just feeling a tremendous amount of exhaustion from that
I
whole
mean,
thing.
I find it, I don't want to say funny because it makes sense why it bothers you, but the fact that those in particular people bother you, because
Yeah.
those are probably also similar people, forgive me if I'm wrong, that also take scripture out of context in the same way. They
And that
what
bothers me
they
too.
read one scripture that
Yeah.
agrees with the way they think, and they hold fast to it, and then they live by it without giving the scripture any context to what that is referencing. So it's like, but like, does the good outweigh the bad? You know?
Yeah, I mean, people are multifaceted, right?
Yeah.
And so a person can have a very strong, and I might consider it to be um unfounded opinion about something, and be a beautifully complex and spiritually awakened person in other aspects of their life or whatever. Like, we can't assume that just because one aspect of how they interact is consistently unhealthy, that other aspects of their life are unhealthy, right?
Yeah.
People are special little snowflakes. But I say all that to say that I feel like the Lord really challenged me about this whole attitude I've been having about it, in the sense of like, one, the exhaustion I feel is nothing compared to what singles are feeling that feel like they have to be in these spaces because that's where they might meet people.
Yeah.
And it is a choice. It's not something that everyone does. And I think we'll talk a little farther on maybe about when to make choices with social media to protect yourself, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of singles feel like social media is the only place they have left to connect with people. They've tried the dating apps, that hasn't worked. Maybe they're trying Synchrony, maybe they're not, but they feel like the most likely place that they have to get exposure and to connect with other people is going to be on social media platforms, in an apostolic singles group, in some, version of that space. And it can be really exhausting for those singles to have similar encounter after similar encounter with members of the opposite gender and just feel like they're in an echo chamber. It's just like Groundhog Day. It's copy and paste perspectives over and over again that um tire them. And I think it's happening to men and it's happening to women.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
The thing is the kind of men that are in the groups that are relatively well grounded are not going to be the ones like trying to defend themselves. And then when people are thinking unhealthily about the perspective of men, they're going to be like, okay, this isn't for me. It's
Yeah.
usually the people who have in their mind the greatest stake in the game, right? And they feel like that their opinion matters online,
Yeah.
um, whether it be healthy or not. And
Yeah.
so, like, it's hard because you have the loudest women and the loudest men that may have justifiable reasons for why they're hurt or why they have their perspectives, but it doesn't justify them blanketing, you know, men and women into categories.
Sure. And I think that in those situations where someone is spouting off something kind of negative online, it's very difficult for anyone to sort of defend themselves or anybody else without positioning themselves as an opposing voice in a space where being an opposing voice doesn't work well. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Um, so I think moderation is hard to come by in those spaces. I think it's difficult to effectively cultivate a really, really balanced dialogue as much as we try, as much as anyone tries, right? Again, shout out to the Facebook group moderators who I think do the absolute best they can,
Oh,
you
sure.
know. Um, so, but the topic for tonight isn't social media because that's a whole nother beast. I want to talk about grace. And
Mhm.
you,
Mhm.
wow.
I'm excited. I
That's
promise
funny.
that's not you. It's me.
I know, I know. We had a birthday party for one of your friends tonight.
Yeah. Party
Um,
hard.
yeah, a
Party hard till
bunch
8:30.
of apostolic 30-year-olds. We were making so many jokes about turning 30. If you're about to turn 30, you're not getting old, but the extended warranty on your
No, you're
body,
getting old.
the extended warranty on your body is about to expire, my friend. I just got to
It
tell
was
you.
so funny hearing all the people who were, some of them were not even 30 years old yet.
Uh-huh.
Are like, dude, my knee is messed up. My back.
I
Like, we're like
know.
all talking like in like the slightly over 30-year-olds are like, you don't even know yet.
It was so funny because Nick was like, he had one of those like Waterloo sparkling waters or
Yeah.
whatever. And he's like, we should have gotten more of these. I can't believe these are such a hit. And we have all these other sodas and everyone's over here drinking sparkling water.
Yeah.
And I'm
There's like
like,
out of the table, there's like 70% of the people were drinking
yeah.
sparkling water.
I'm like, Nick, we're all over 30 and our metabolisms are such that none of us can drink the full sugar drinks anymore. Like
Yeah.
they'll keep us up, right?
Yeah.
Um,
As we're pounding coffee.
yeah. Um, so I want to talk about grace. And maybe
Who?
grace maybe grace is the wrong word. Like I don't know if the correct term is long suffering or if there's a better kind of framing for it scripturally in terms of how this word is defined in the Bible. But grace is when I'm thinking of grace, I'm thinking of how to continue to extend um, unconditional sort of positive regard and hopeful regard in a place where that is not merited or deserved, right? I think when we think about the grace of God, it's him continuing to show mercy to us when it is not deserved, right?
Yeah.
It's that over and over again, despite everything that we do or we don't do, he extends himself. I'm talking about a flavor of that maybe in online dating. What are you thinking?
I was just trying to see if I can come up with a better word, but no, I think grace is the right word.
Yeah. So I think that it's easy to spend time online in the dating space and make some assumptions.
Oh, sure.
And we could start, I guess, like rattling off the most common ones. I think that, let's say this first. Part of dating like an apostolic, we talk about this all the time,
Yep.
is using a different script than what the world uses for dating.
Yeah.
And we haven't really, in every church, maybe been as explicit with what that script should entail as an apostolic, but we know that how we date is not supposed to look like how the world dates. If you had to describe the dating culture of the world in terms of how people are treated in it, what would be the things that you would call out about that?
Like, if I were to blanket statement, like all of dating in a nutshell.
Yeah, which I know is a big thing, but like if you just had to, if you had a whiteboard and you were just trying to describe worldly dating culture, what are the words that would come to mind to you?
Sadly, superficial.
Superficial, yeah.
Um, that's gonna make me sound inherently negative.
Yeah.
Like misguided.
Yeah.
um,
Dehumanizing.
well, it's like missing the mark,
Mm.
right? It's the idea of, and again, don't shoot me down, internet. It's just more of the mindset of, I feel like they're aiming for the wrong things
Sure.
for what marriage should mean.
Yeah.
And so dating is often a like looking for a best friend to give me permission to do what I want to do
Uh-huh.
for the rest of my life.
It's self-serving. It's
Yes,
self-centered.
exactly. And it's
Yeah.
not and again, I'm not saying that all people feel this way, but like to the generalized public of the world, it, it feels superficial.
No, and I think that that's why when you look at like, there's a lot of stuff being written right now about modern dating.
Yeah.
Like a lot of articles, a lot of people are worried about it because of things like the birth rate dropping really significantly in the U.S. and the West in general. People not getting married, like women choosing singleness, men choosing singleness over marriage.
Yeah.
Alternate forms of marriage that seem complicated and unhealthy, like polyamory or open marriages, which not great ideas.
Yeah.
Um, all
Soon it's going to be marriage to robots.
I mean, yeah, dating robots is already a thing, unfortunately. So
If you want to call that dating.
yeah, yeah. So I would agree with you. Like these are all kind of like misguided symptoms of this underlying thing, which is that if we consider worldly dating to be a reflection of where sort of the outcomes of that process take people, ultimately they are fallen processes. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that every couple that meets outside of the church is doomed.
No, of course not.
Nobody who's dating, I think, wants these things to be the case. Like I think people that are sincerely out there looking for connection are looking for a connection that transcends those things and that is separate from them and that elevates and humanizes and makes people more and better than they are. And I think that can happen sometimes when people are really dedicated and committed. But it is very hard to make that happen outside of the transformative power of the Holy Ghost, I think.
Yeah.
Because people are being fallen people out there in a fallen world doing fallen people stuff with each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, which is why I think it's sad that we have access to something that's so beautiful and so life-changing, and yet the church still feels like it's doing it wrong.
Yeah, and the data would hold up that a lot of times we are, right? Like we still have a lot of unhealthy dating practices that lead to some of those fallen outcomes within the church.
Yeah.
So if that is what worldly dating is and apostolic dating should look different, right? One of the things that we have to hold ourselves to is that we cannot fall prey to the mind numbing and exhausting negativity that pervades worldly dating.
Yeah.
We can't let ourselves just go quietly into that dark night, right?
Yeah.
And be overtaken by cynicism and skepticism and all those things. And it is so easy to do.
Well, it is because it's usually also surrounding you in even the marriage world.
Yeah.
Because there's already a lot of cynicism and sarcasm that has to do with relationships. And it's a way for couples to be passive aggressive about each other.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like the whole like spilling the tea concept between women and between men, where they talk poorly about their relationships, which then translates to single people who are looking for dates thinking like, well, this is just going to be perpetuated.
Yeah. And we have this thing called like confirmation bias.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Confirmation bias being that like when we believe that something is true, we will look for things that confirm that thesis.
Yeah.
And we will disregard other things that might contradict it, right? So if I believe that the earth is flat, as is popular in some circles,
she doesn't, by the way.
I don't. It's not biblical. Read your Bible. If I believe that the earth is flat, then I will look for patterns and historical references and whatever that confirm that to me.
Yeah.
And ignore the massive body of scientific and mathematical and astronomical data.
But the government's covering it up, babe.
Right. Over centuries and centuries, gathered from lots of different sources and lots of different people groups and lots of different methods and mechanisms, confirmed over and over again, and in scripture that says that the earth is round.
Yeah.
Right. But
we actually didn't go to the moon. And
that it orbits the sun. I'm just going to keep talking over him because I know that there's someone out there listening going, he's one of us. No. So confirmation bias is believing something to the point where it blinds you. I think about that scripture all the time. This used to scare the snot out of me. It's in Galatians somewhere. I forget the
I believe there's only 5 chapters, so it's somewhere in
I know,
there.
I know. I forget where it occurs in. I think, and correct me. I could be wrong about this. Well, maybe this isn't Galatians, but I remember it. I think it was one of my early Bible quizzing verses, and we started in Galatians, so that's where I go back to. But Paul's talking about how the Lord will send a strong delusion so that somebody would believe a lie. Right?
Oh, yeah.
There's this idea that if somebody were to perpetuate a particular false doctrine, right? That the Lord will send them a strong delusion that they would believe a lie. And that used to scare the living daylights out of me because it still does kind of, right? This idea that you could be so deep in your own heresy that you begin to believe it,
Oh, sure.
right? And you become consumed with it. We are prone to that as
Oh, yeah.
humans, right?
Especially with the echo chamber of the internet, to be able to find other people who are like-minded.
Yeah. I've it's so wild. I've had this realization about myself recently. I had this realization the other day that I was sucked into some knowledge wormholes early in our marriage that I now would probably not get sucked into. Like what would you call them? Like stumbling block, like pits basically.
Are you calling building a schoolie a stumbling block?
No, that's still, there's nothing wrong with that. Like so like one of
We're
them,
like, let's build a school bus home. Also, let's adopt a 160-pound Rottweiler.
that wasn't wrong or delusional. It wasn't a good idea.
Yeah.
And we didn't do it,
Yeah.
but it wasn't delusional. I'm thinking of like, I'll skip the exact example that I was trying to give because it might get too spicy for people. I don't want people to get mad. I got pulled into. I went through a fairly long crunchy phase. Nothing against being a little crunchy,
I love granola.
being a little crispy. But I definitely got sucked into a couple of those things where, in hindsight, now having looked at like peer reviewed data from it, I was like, oh my gosh, that was silly of me to have gone down and gotten so impassioned about.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't matter. And like, I like to think of myself as being a fairly like logical and like data driven person.
Yeah.
All of us are susceptible to this.
Oh, sure.
So, and often it's because it's something that we want to believe, right?
Yeah. Well, we like having the magical answer.
Yeah.
We like having the silver bullet that helps solve our problems of the moment. And also it's cool to know something that other people don't. And
Yes.
so a lot of people want to feel special.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the core behind it, but like at the same time, like this is a whole nother conversation, but like I think a lot of people look for purpose in weird ways just
Mhm.
because they don't know how to fill that hole of not having purpose.
Yeah. And I don't
And
want
so
to,
this is like I said, this is going in way deeper, but
yeah. And I don't want to like infantilize people or minimize people because like people can get to this from a whole different, a bunch of different sort of ways,
yeah,
right?
I'm talking about it from like the unhealthiest perspectives, like not like the
Like
average
the ultra
person.
keyboard
Yeah.
warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. I agree that the extreme version of that is usually like someone who is struggling to find a healthy outlet for their energy in the world, right?
Yeah.
But I also think like in dating, it's one of those things where if you're someone who's been hurt in a relationship or you've experienced some rejection or you've had a hard time meeting good dating prospects, right? Being able to point to something and say, this is what's wrong with women or this is what's wrong with men. And all women are doing this X, Y, and Z thing, and all men are doing this thing. And that's creating the problem that I'm experiencing feels really validating.
Yeah. It
Because,
validates your emotions and why you feel the way you feel.
right. Because it puts the problem outside of yourself.
Yep.
And it's something
And
you
it
can,
also takes the blame off of you.
it takes the blame off of you, even though in some cases I don't like, what I don't want people to hear as we're saying this is you're making excuses. I'm not saying that. Sometimes people are, but I don't think that's usually why people are like doing this. Like when I'm saying like people are out there going like, I just wish somebody would be willing to commit to me. I wish that men would be willing to show up and commit to people. Well, there are men who do,
Yeah.
right? You did. Most of our married male friends did,
Yeah.
right? Or I wish women would just be willing to like say why they're saying no. I wish women would stop friend zoning. I wish all women just do this. They lead you on and then they friend zone you. No, not all women do. I didn't do that, right? Like it is not fair to say that everyone in this gender is doing this.
Sure.
There is a confirmation bias that you, person on the internet, have experienced that. And maybe you've experienced it multiple times. And now you are beginning to believe that that is the behavior of every person in this gender. And you can see this pattern. And it feels good to say this pattern is the reason why this is going wrong.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't take into consideration the algorithm of the internet.
Yes.
That like I'm telling you, I can have one conversation with someone, or someone sends me one video about a certain like type of product.
Right.
And then for the next 2 or 3 days, I keep on getting these like phishing videos, not actually phishing, like PHI.
Yeah.
Where it's like, let's see if he actually goes down that rabbit hole. And if
Yeah.
I click on it once,
Yeah.
I am now for the next 3 weeks getting through my feed videos about said product that we talked about.
Right.
The problem is that also goes for mindsets too.
Yeah.
And so like if you are constantly consuming information that is like confirming your mindset about the world, then what's going to happen is you're going to start getting fed other creators that also say, and this is where the echo chamber conversation comes from, is like you get fed this conversation of like other people that agree with me.
Yeah. And I think,
And that's unhealthy.
Right.
Not because of your mindset or your perspective. It's unhealthy to not go, I'm hearing a lot of what I only think.
Yes.
And critically go, let's see if there's other perspectives out there.
Yeah.
And when you start to like believe one specific pattern of thinking and then you're only surrounding yourself with people that think that way, it can be dangerous.
I completely agree. And I think that that's true in a lot of different facets. And I don't think that like the answer to that is necessarily, so to some degree, that kind of filtering is inevitable, right?
Sure.
The internet is always going to be doing this thing where it's trying to sort you into your specific algorithmic category in order to best market to you, in order to best send stuff to you. Unless some great infrastructural change happens to how the internet works, that is the case.
Yeah, sure.
Going forward.
It's just being knowledgeable of it, you know?
It is. But the other thing that I want to kind of put out to people, and this is where the grace thing comes in, is that as apostolics seeking healthy partners, we have to believe that despite everything we see in the spaces that we're in, that there are good people out there.
Yes.
Point blank.
Yep.
It is not a choice to participate in apostolic dating, desiring an apostolic spouse, desiring to create a marriage that reflects God and reflects scripture. My point is that part of creating a healthy apostolic dating culture, if we're going to participate in these spaces online, is choosing not to get sucked into the wormhole and the despair and the misogyny or the misandry, which is, fun fact, the male version. Misogyny is about literally hatred of women. Misogyny, Gyn, like gynecology, misogyny, misandry. I guess I don't. There's an O there. Misandry. Regardless, not getting sucked into those forces.
Yeah.
Even when they're confirmed for us, even when the algorithm is going to feed them to us, even when there are loud voices in the spaces that we're participating in, beating that drum over and over and over and over again. Creating an apostolic dating culture looks like extending grace to our brother, to our sister, and saying, despite evidence to the contrary, I believe that there are men and women of God out there seeking a healthy relationship. I believe that most people in the church are seeking a healthy relationship, even when their behavior indicates otherwise.
Yeah.
And I choose to extend grace. That doesn't mean that I'm going to entertain people that are unhealthy or give my time to people that are going to, that demonstrate a lack of respect or a lack of, like positive regard for people.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we're going to spend time on and, waste our time on people that do not demonstrate the fruits.
Yeah.
Right. But me as an individual in the dating space, if I am in there, I'm going to be choosing not to fall prey to the idea that the negative things I'm seeing apply to every person that I encounter.
Yeah. Why is it important for that to be a factor in your life?
I mean, it's so one thing is that like we can't build healthy connections if we're assuming the worst out of each other.
Exactly.
Right? Like
What kind of a partner do you look like to the person who is giving people the benefit of the doubt?
right.
When all of a sudden one of your comments is something that is degrading or belittling to the whole gender of people.
Yeah,
But then
like
also that same person goes, let me learn more about this person I'm interested in. And then they go and look at their social media profile and then go and see all of the comments and things that you've said in the past about belittling people who apparently all have the same behavior.
yeah. So like if you are thinking a negative thought about the opposite gender, don't post it.
Yeah.
Stop. Take your hands off the keyboard, go take a walk. Don't do it.
One, for more than just for yourself, but also what would Jesus do?
Well, and it's not even that because like it's not that I don't think that there's not room to have a critical discussion. Like we're doing that, right? The stuff we
Yeah.
post, we've said stuff that's like, hey, we noticed that men have a tendency to do X, Y, and Z and it creates X result, or women have a tendency to do X, Y, and Z and create X result. I'm not saying that you can't participate in a healthy discussion around that. I am saying if you're getting ready to make a blanket statement that is unabashedly negative and that when people read it is going to make them assume the worst out of that whatever gender you're specifying, stop.
Yeah.
You're not helping. You're not helping yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
What good comes from that?
none. You change no one's mind doing that, first of all. No one
Yeah.
sees that and is like, wow, you know what? I agree. All men are dogs. Like, no one does that. You know what I mean?
The only minds you change are the people who were even considering you as an option.
Yes. Accurate. Yeah, exactly. Like you are basically signing your own like
Death
forever
certificate.
Yeah, forever friend zone. If
Unless you
friend
end,
zone
well,
is
I mean, the
generous.
only world in which I can see it actually working is if you match up with someone who is equally as unhealthy.
Yeah.
Which that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation.
But
But yeah, so don't post it online. But also, even outside of the online space, I think that if we're constantly exposing ourselves to these messages, even when we meet someone in person authentically, it's very hard for us to assume the best out of them and give them the benefit of the doubt going in. Because like you, again, first interactions are awkward. It's very easy to mistake people's intentions.
oh,
It's
sure.
very easy to misunderstand like what they're aiming for. So if your whole mind is just full of all these tropes and things that you've encountered in the past, and someone tries to extend like a genuine invitation to get to know you better, it's so easy to be like, ugh, well, I've heard this before, or like, ugh, well, you and every other person that's ever tried to reach out to me, or are you going to be just like these other people that I meet in this place? And it's not
It doesn't breed emotional and mental security or safety.
correct.
For the person who is trying to extend that to you.
Right.
So it's not leaving room for that person to go, this will be a healthy choice.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like the culture that we're trying to create is bigger than just individual people, right?
Yeah.
If you're going into this dating space with a mindset of like, I'm here to find the one good woman or the one good man that still exists on the face of the earth and forget all the rest of these people and what they're looking for, right? If you're going in with a self-serving attitude about what you're looking for and you're willing to just toss people aside in the process, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
And it's not creating a healthy dating culture for the church as a whole. I thought, one of the coolest like dating interactions I heard about as we've been doing Synchrony is one of our clients that we worked with for a long time. She's now happily married as of a couple weeks ago, actually. And we didn't match her with a person she married.
Yeah.
But the way that she met them was really cool. She connected with someone on a dating app and they started having a conversation. And it became clear to both of them fairly quickly that like they probably weren't quite right for each other.
Yeah.
Right. And this guy said, I don't know that you're the right person for me, but I've really enjoyed getting to know you. And I have a friend who I think you would connect with really, really well.
Yeah.
And she,
Best wingman ever.
right. And I know a lot of women who would have heard that and have gone, oh my gosh, this is you trying to ghost me. Or like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, this is you being
You trying to pawn me off to one of your friends. Yeah.
right. Like, how dare you? Right.
Yeah.
And instead, this amazing young woman was like, oh, well, thank you for thinking of me. I agree. Like, I appreciate that. Tell me about your friend. Right. So this guy connected this person he had met on a dating app and his friend, and they rode off into the sunset together and got married and have built a beautiful relationship. Right.
Yeah.
Because both of them were in there giving each other the benefit of the doubt.
Yep.
If they had come into that interaction primed, and like this, I talked to this girl a lot. We workshopped her whole dating process. We talked through the things she had been seeing. She had plenty of evidence to be jaded.
Yeah.
She had experienced a lot of bad dating interactions. And I love her outlook and attitude because in that moment, she did not choose to be cynical.
Yeah.
And she stayed open. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's easy.
No.
Like it's hard to constantly expose yourself to negativity and then keep trying every time to hope for the best.
Yeah. Making the right choice is usually the harder choice.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah. And I don't want to minimize the exhaustion of that. I know people are very tired.
Yeah. But I know people are tired.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you want a quality relationship in which you have the thing is getting married is a lot of work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
no, it is. Because here's the thing. If you go in there with a selfish mindset, you're going to be exhausted all the time.
No, but people, I don't know. It's not quite capturing what I'm trying to say. I don't want to minimize the fact that people are tired. And I don't mean that they're tired in like oh, I'm tired because I'm not getting what I want way. Right.
Yeah.
I think people are tired because it just seems like no matter how hard they try to give the benefit of the doubt, people keep proving them wrong.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting.
Yeah.
And I do want to make a suggestion to people.
Okay.
So there might be a point in which your dating process requires you, in order to be able to continue to give grace, in order to continue to be able to assume the best about each person that you meet, you might need to remove yourself from online dating spaces for a bit. I'm not saying take a break from dating. I'm not saying start fasting your dating process. But maybe it's, okay, for this next few months, I'm going to take myself out of the dating apps, take myself out of the Facebook groups or whatever you're using, and commit to cultivating in-person connections with people. Not even people of the opposite gender, but let me go make friends with people from other churches who I don't know. Let me travel a little bit. Let me focus on connecting with people in my extended network in person as much as I can and see who they can introduce me to.
Yeah.
Right.
And also, like, on top of that, if you are constantly struggling with a cynical mindset towards the opposite gender, I would also ask yourself, like, who am I spending my time with?
Yeah.
Because it might not just be online. It might not be social media. It also might be people that are around you.
Yeah.
It might be people in your church. It might be friends. It might be family members. But ask, like, hey, is this the mindset of someone that I would want to, that I look up to their relationships? Is this someone that, like, I would like my marriage to mirror? If not, then if it's attributing to having that cynical mindset, then I would consider, I'm not saying cut them off, but I'm saying maybe try to start surrounding yourself with people with healthier mindsets.
Yeah. And I know I know that all these things are easier said than done, but the goal here is you have to really search in yourself. How much of this can I expose myself to and continue to give grace?
Yeah.
Right. Jesus sees all of our sins and all of our flaws and extends grace. We're not that perfect.
Yeah.
Right. it is difficult for us to constantly see the worst of people and continue to assume the best.
Yeah.
And you have to know yourself. Like there's a point at which like that was my initial impulse to cut off social media in 2016. Like I was to the point where I could not continue to see the best in people online, and I had to kind of like take a break.
Yeah.
If you need to do that in whatever space you're in or whatever setting you're in, like do that, because taking that step back might save you from ruining your chances in the future with somebody, right? Stopping and developing a healthier outlook might prevent you from being so jaded that you miss something that comes up later.
Yeah. For reals.
I know we're continuing to fight with our camera stuff,
Yeah,
and I
I'm
don't want
sorry.
to. No, it's okay. It's not your fault.
Well, it's not necessarily the camera's fault either. This time it's the software.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating.
It's just the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
We have to assume the best about.
Max, these cameras are great. I just need to learn them better.
He did offer to help.
No, I know. That's why I'm saying that. But we will still talk.
Yeah. He's like,
yeah.
Okay, so takeaways. We can't have a good dating culture if we're constantly telling each other the worst things about the opposite gender.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Benefit of the doubt. I know that sounds like so cheesy, but like we have to be cultivating that mindset.
Yeah.
We have to be.
Yeah.
It's not attractive if you're not having that mindset, because again, once you get into marriage, honestly, marriage is a lot of benefit of the doubt. Like
Yeah.
it really is.
I just had this thought. So there's probably someone listening to this going, okay, but guys, it's really easy for you to say
Yeah.
because you already found someone.
Sure.
And if I take myself out of these spaces, I could miss someone. Like I can't afford to give up the opportunity to meet someone by checking out of these places. I have to be everywhere.
I mean, I have a response to that statement, but
What is your response?
you don't have to take yourself out of this space. You just don't have to respond negatively in this space.
Well, no, I'm saying like if people are saying like I know that I'm exposing myself to too much negativity. I know that it's affecting my mindset.
Yeah.
Like I know that it's making me more jaded, but I'm scared that if I remove myself from these spaces, I'll miss out on the opportunity to connect with someone.
Yeah.
Right? Valid.
That is valid.
I get that concern. I want to let you know that relatively few connections that come out of these online spaces, in my experience of talking to people, and I could be wrong, relatively few of them are super healthy. I think it does happen. I think two healthy people can connect on these platforms, and I pray that more of them do. If they're going to be there, that's great. The thing I hear more of is connections might happen, but they might not result in long-term relationships as frequently as people would want to, because there's some kind of an unhealthy or complicated dynamic happening there. It's much easier to be taken advantage of in these spaces. You might reduce the opportunity to meet someone in those spaces. That risk might be worth it to protect yourself from negatively influencing your view of an entire gender.
Yeah.
Like, I think there is a point at which you have to know, oh, if I stay here much longer, or if I don't take a break from this, I'm definitely going to start thinking that all women are this or all men are this. And when you start sensing that in yourself, you got to find a way to catch a break and just know that there are other ways to connect with people.
Yeah.
And I'm not just trying to put a pitch in here for synchrony. We are a different way to connect with people, but like there are other options.
Yeah.
And taking a break will not destroy your future.
Honestly, you taking a break and if it means you keeping a healthier mindset as a result of you leaving, then honestly your chances of finding someone and having a healthy relationship are going to stay higher than if you maintain a negative mindset and run into someone, a good quality person, and accidentally shoot yourself in the foot because of a perception that you have developed in your mind.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who's listening to this who has already been one of the keyboard warriors? Like, he or she is listening to this and realizing, developing some self-awareness and realizing, oh man, I've already been this person. I've already been saying a lot of all men or all women statements on my socials. It's out there. What's our advice to that person?
The simple answer?
Yeah.
Uh, I would, if you're looking to have a change of heart, and you're honestly wanting to have a change of heart,
Uh-huh.
um, I would say, delete your account and create a new one.
Like wipe the slate.
Yeah, and only because again, your track record follows you.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds like kind of crazy, but I'm looking at this the way I also look at debt,
Yeah.
right? It's like unless you change the behavior, like throwing away your credit cards, or like if you don't change your spending habits,
Right.
no matter how many times you try,
Yeah.
you're going to continue to get back into debt if your goal is to get out of debt.
Right.
Right? You have to change the behavior.
Right.
So like in this situation, like just because you throw away your credit card but you don't change your spending behavior, you're going to end up getting another credit card. So like
In this context, credit card here being social media accounts.
yes. So
Yeah.
what I would do is make sure you're really challenging why you're wanting this change of heart and really understand yourself.
Yeah.
Take a break from social media. And if you are really a keyboard warrior, I would honestly play around with a mindset of like creating a new account and starting over new. Not because I think you should like run from your problems, but
Uh-huh.
it doesn't make sense for you like going back and like mending things on the internet because people on the internet don't care to mend things.
No, I mean, I do think that like if like logistically,
Yeah.
burning down a social media account's difficult these days. Like
Oh, sure.
because you're all, half of our logins are tied to logging in with Facebook or logging in with Meta or AI or logging in with whatever. There's a lot of cascading impacts to actually destroying an account. If you can't do that, going back and purging your old posts is not a terrible idea.
Yeah, purging posts is a good start.
Yeah. But I do think that that is something to consider. Like, if you have been this person and you want to turn over a new leaf and you don't want to be contributing to this, you might have to go do some damage control.
Yeah. I mean, just from a biblical perspective, if there are people that you legitimately like hurt or offended, then I think you should, you know, go and say sorry. And I'm not saying
Yeah.
it has to be public. It could be a direct message, or if you know them personally, go talk to them. I don't think it should be something you just kind of be like, well, I'm glad God convicted me about this. Let's move forward. If you legitimately hurt people, then
Yeah.
I think you should go and at least make an amends. And I'm not saying that you don't have to get a I forgive you from them. I think
No.
you should legitimately apologize, and what they choose to do with that statement is up between them and God.
Right. Yeah. I can't force anybody to have convictions. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? I can't make someone feel a certain thing.
No.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, like, if you're someone who's just been like, you've been in a singles Facebook group and you've been blasting the opposite gender, right?
Yeah.
If you're deciding to change that behavior, you might have an obligation to get into that group and say sorry publicly. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't
That makes
mean
sense.
not in kind of like a pandering, like, oh, look at me way, but like in an actual
Yeah.
act of humility, knowing that you probably don't know how many people your original
Yeah.
post reached.
That's fair.
Maybe you do.
Yeah. That's fair.
And so I
I
think
just, in my mind, I post so few in like my life just because I would rather avoid it. Like in my
sure.
mind, I'm like, that makes sense. But if you potentially like are really a big keyboard warrior, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. Okay, so we're getting into the nitty gritty of how to run your social media life, and ultimately we can't decide that for you.
No.
If you have specific questions, drop them in the comments. If you disagree with what we're saying, drop it in the comments. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. If you have questions, email us.
Right. The takeaway here, regardless of the mechanism, is that we as apostolics have an obligation. If we are committed to building a dating culture that produces godly connections, godly marriages, right? We have an obligation to extend grace to the people that we're interacting with in these spaces.
Yeah.
Even when we don't believe that people deserve it, or that even if we're starting to feel that the good ones are all taken.
Yeah.
Right? There's nobody out there for me. You have to fight that. You have to fight that mindset. You have to do what you have to do to keep yourself fighting that mindset. You have to back out of the places that are brainwashing you into that mindset. It's poison, it's poison, it's poison, and it will keep you alone. It will make you lonely. You don't deserve that. If you want a healthy connection, if you want a healthy marriage, you have to be part of creating a dating culture in which everyone is healthier.
Yes.
All of us have to do that.
Hoorah.
Hoorah. Okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
Not to that. I do want to do a shout out.
What's a shout out?
There's a baby.
Yes. Congratulations. Ugh. Hold on. Not gonna cry.
Cue tears.
Not gonna cry. Not gonna cry. Not gonna cry. Congratulations to this beautiful new family. I guess the family's not new because they have kids because they
But they're a new union.
yeah. Two people who we had the pleasure of introducing to each other, Lorraine and Adrian,
Yeah.
just had their first daughter together.
Yeah.
Adrian came into their connection with 3 beautiful children. So they began life together as parents and co-parenting, which I think is beautiful. But they also just had their first baby together.
Yeah.
And this is the first baby ever born to a couple that met via synchrony, via a match at least.
Our first synchrony baby is on this earth.
Yeah. She's beautiful.
Yeah, she is.
So I'm not going to say like her name or any of her details because
her name is Megan Synchrony.
No,
Keith.
it is not. Her name is beautiful, and I wish them all the happiness in the world and lots of.
Her name is not actually beautiful.
No, they did not name their baby after synchrony because they do not have to because it is their baby, not our baby.
It's Ashley.
No, Ashley's my middle name. It is none of those things. It is a beautiful name that I will not mention because that is theirs. That is their news.
Yeah.
But I am very, very, very happy for them.
Congratulations, yo.
Yeah, she's beautiful. You guys are beautiful.
Megan.
Yeah.
That baby would not be here.
Yeah.
Without, and then, again, we don't care about the credit. It's just, it's weird for us that this brain baby of a dream of having synchrony to match people.
Yeah.
Like we anticipated people getting married, but for some reason, when people started getting pregnant as a result of the relationships, it kind of hit differently. And now lives are in this world that would not be here otherwise.
Yeah. To God be the glory.
It is so cool.
I'm very humbled and just overwhelmed by how special that is.
Yeah.
I hope I get to meet all these babies someday and snuggle them and kiss them and squeeze them and whatever. They'll probably be 15 by the time that happens. I don't think that's very weird.
Like, this is weird.
Like some teenager at general conference, like, Mom, get this lady off me.
Yeah.
No, God is so good. And I just love that for these families that are, not to tell anyone's specific story, but some of the people that we've worked with had given up on that opportunity.
Yeah.
They had decided that that was not going to happen for them.
Yeah.
Having their own biological children or having, being able to have another child with someone that they were with, for the long term.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful to see those dreams realized for them. And yeah, I'm just very honored we get to witness it,
Yeah, it is so cool.
That is one of the benefits of social media.
Yeah.
Baby pictures.
Baby pictures.
Yeah. So that's been nice.
Yeah.
I really hope that our video is intact for this one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Well,
you might have to do another Bob Ross painting this time.
Yeah. If our video doesn't work for this episode, then we'll try something creative. Last time we just put up a static photo of us, which seemed kind of boring.
Sorry, I know that's lame.
Yeah, I didn't have time to do anything interesting. But maybe if
next time you have to do Bob Ross painting with your toes.
No, we'll not be doing that. But yeah, maybe next time if this doesn't work, we'll have to come up with some creative thing to have running in the background so people will stay the whole time and listen.
Yeah.
If you made it this far, we love you. Ladies, remember, if you are interested in becoming a Synchrony client, we don't have applications or I guess consultations open for ladies right now, but you can go join the wait list. Someone asked a good question this week actually about like how long is the wait list? Like if I sign up for the wait list, how long will I wait? It's not a wait list in the sense of like we're not like opening up a couple slots at a time and pulling people off the top of the list in priority order or anything. We're just stacking up a list of people who are interested, ladies who are interested in Synchrony. And when we reopen the pipeline, probably, I'm feeling like sometime later this summer,
Yeah,
probably
probably in the summer.
late summer, early fall, we will just let all those people know. So it's just us gathering your contact information
Yeah.
so we can push you information about when we're going to reopen the pipeline. So you don't have to get in there quickly in order to get priority seating in the waiting list. We'll just let everybody know when it's open. Okay, guys, it's open for you right now. So you can
Yeah,
come.
guys, it is still open. We need all the men.
Yeah.
All the single men. All the single men.
Steven. Anyway, if you're a guy and you're going to look at consultations right now, by the way, you're probably seeing that my only open day is Saturday. And that's where we have my hours right now due to some stuff with my work. If that does not work for you for any reason, like you work on Saturdays and you're not going to be able to do that, please shoot us a message via email or on Instagram or whatever.
Yeah.
And let me know that, and I can try to open up a different slot. I'm just having to limit my hours a little bit due to some work.
Yep. And we're also trying to crunch that data. So
Correct.
All right.
I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you for powering through this one with me.
Yeah. I'm sorry I had to like acupuncture myself.
Yeah, Steven, you can't see it in the camera, but he's holding a tiny like cell phone device cleaner pick thing it's like a little needle, and he's been poking himself with it the whole time trying to stay awake.
Yeah. I chose not to drink the cup of coffee because I had a cup of coffee before we recorded, but I should have opted.
Yep, mistakes were made, but now we know.
All right. I love y'all.
Love you guys. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.